Hello, my name is Jared Krebs. I'm pictured here with my wife, Crystal. We're Emerald Directors, co-founders of Team DSI, and today's training features a special guest, a dear friend of mine, Gold Director from LaPorte City, Iowa, Angela Gray. I first got to know Angela on the Caribbean cruise that USANA provided us for winning the growth contest, and she is such a sweetheart. I got to know her and her husband, Todd, and it was just so cool to hear their story that I was so inspired by it because she acted as a client for 19 years. She was an associate, but really just buying products as a client. And then something clicked, something happened. I don't know exactly. We're going to hear right now. But once she made that decision to grow her business, she became a gold director within 1 year from that decision. And she is literally taking the state of Iowa to a whole new level with USANA. She is the top leader there. She is the one planning the events there. And by the way, did I mention she's a mother of 7? She has 7 children. So those of you with kids who think you don't have enough time, well, guess what? You're going to hear from a mother of 7 who built her business to gold director, and she's going far beyond that as well. She has all types of success stories with all her family and clients. She also has a nursing background, so she just has so much to offer, and I can tell that all her clients and associates just love working with her. Angela, thank you so much for being on this call with us. Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's been awesome to get to know you and Todd. And the floor is yours. Welcome to the webinar.
Thank you. I'm so honored. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I feel very special. Thank you, Jared.
You're very welcome. And I have this picture here of your family. If you want to start here and tell us about your family.
Oh, there's my family. They were much smaller when I was first introduced to USANA. Half of them were not in existence. So it's fun for everybody to see where they are now, and they are really my why, but that's part of my why, right? So yeah. I will share bits and pieces about them throughout my story. So thank you again, though. I'm so honored, and that your parents do this with you. I get to be privy to, this first part before we air this and do the recording, and so cool. What a great leader you are, Jared, and so cool that you get to do this with your amazing leader parents as well. That is really, and you'll hear that hopefully when I'm sharing my story, what our vision is for our family. So it's so neat for me, and I'm so inspired to see that you guys work together and how well you do it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So yeah, thank you. So you want me to start from the beginning, huh?
Yes, tell us everything. We want to know the good, bad, and the ugly, everything, all the things you had to go through.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Oh well, we don't have enough time for all of that.
Right? There's new people on here who are struggling inviting their first, friends and family. There's people on here who've been in the company for a couple years that are growing, but everyone wants to grow faster, right? So they want to hear how you overcame challenges and the best things as well. We want to know it all. So
yeah.
Yes, the floor is yours.
Okay. And then, feel free, you guys. I'm happy to answer questions at the end. And I just pray that this will be of value to, someone on the call. And everybody comes from different places. And so, yes, it's awesome that I have 7 children and, I have a nursing background and whatever. But we all get this great opportunity within USANA. And so that's why we do these interviews, is to hopefully, bring value to even just one person and have someone connect with our story, which is really the best thing we have to share. So thank you for this opportunity. All right. So I was introduced to USANA, you guys, a long time ago. 22 years I've been with USANA, and I love when I get to train about inviting, because what if someone wouldn't have invited me to this little radio station in my little town of LaPorte City, Iowa? And I was very ready for that invitation. My friend who invited me wasn't really aware of that, but I had just been saying out loud, because at the time I was introduced to USANA, my husband and I had 4 children, and we were homeschooling. And I was working second shift, and Todd has my husband Todd owns a business as well. So he's an entrepreneur, and it's a flooring business. So he works really hard. And we were just like hardly ever seeing each other between my work, his work, and the kids and homeschooling. And I will vividly forever remember sitting in the driveway his parents' home and thinking, and I may have said it out loud, but just thinking, I wish I could find something to do that I love to do, because I love my nursing job. I love being with the people, the patients, but I just didn't like having to show up when I wanted to really be with my kids. And I said, I wish there was something that I could find to do, that I could be at home with my kids and not miss out on any moments, but still be able to bring in some income that would help pay for our health insurance, because my health insurance was through my nursing job. And I'm telling you, it was no longer than, I feel like it was the next day, or no longer than 2 days. And my good friend said, hey, Angie, do you want to go down and listen to this opportunity that one of her friends had shared with her, and something to do with science and health and stuff? And so I was like, yeah, I do. I was very ready to hear about something. She didn't really mention much about the business at the time. But we went down to this little radio station, at this Christian radio station, a little dark little room, and they put in this VHS tape. And it was for 45 minutes. We listened to the Dr. Myron Wentz. And I kid about this if you've ever heard me tell my story, but it's so true. Those of you that hear him now, I love listening to him. He's never boring to me, but he's pretty monotone. You really got to hang in there with him sometimes, but we're always on the edge of our seat to hear what he has to say. But then it was like, okay, this guy's like, really, I thought he was so authentic, because even though he was very monotone and not very exciting to listen to, you totally knew what his story was. You totally knew what his vision was, and that he was authentically sharing as something that was incredibly important to him that we hear. And it was really intuitively, really, Todd and I knew right away that we need to be a part of this. The whole vision that he shared at the time of having to free the world of degenerative disease, it connected with me. And then the excitement that he had, and you could just feel the love that he had for the human cell and the miracle of the human cell. So I loved all that, and my husband loved all of that. And we walked out and we like, yep, we're going to do this. And so we signed up that day. And we didn't have a team. Like, there was no one here. Honestly, the people that introduced it to us, we all signed up on the same day. So my sponsor and me all signed up on the same day. We didn't have anybody here. And at that time, USANA didn't have any tools. I don't even remember how many products we had. Not very many. But I was so pumped by hearing Dr. Wentz's story that I was just excited to share it with people. And so we did know about the business. I just don't remember any details. I just knew that this could be a vehicle for me to stay home with my kids. And I really loved what these products were doing for people. And so I went out and I just started sharing Dr. Wentz's story. I didn't have a story of my own. We started on the products right away. But guys, I was 27. So I was very healthy. I was very active. I'd always been an athlete. So I had no health concerns. So I really just shared what I learned from Dr. Wentz. And so within about 6 months, I had shared enough. I mean, this was just one-on-one, because I didn't know how to do a presentation. There certainly wasn't any presentation materials for us at that time. So this was just like on a one-on-one, no social media. There was no social media. So within about 6 months, I was earning enough income that it paid for our health insurance. And I love telling this part of the story, because honestly, that quite possibly, aside from our incredible health that we've experienced, was the greatest gift USANA has ever given us. Is I was able to continue to contribute to our family income, and I was able to stay home with my children. So really, I love hearing about how an extra $100 or $200 can do for a family a week or a month even. And I have that story that's very relatable, because that was my first milestone. That was my first goal, and that happened very quickly. So that was awesome. And then I was able to leave my nursing job. And during that, the next 18 years that I was with USANA, we never were without our products. My husband's job is incredibly physical. USANA has saved him so many times, and I know that's not ethical, but we would never be without our products for sure. Also during that time, we were also homeschooling. We had 3 more children, so we have a total of 7, like Jared said, and we've homeschooled them all. And so during that time, I was homeschooling, and loving USANA. And I would teach. I shouldn't say teach. There was still no one here in Iowa. There was no one that was in leadership. There were no presentations or events or anything like that. I would get USANA's magazine every once in a while, or we'd get something in the mail. I really don't even remember what it was, but I was staying connected with USANA for sure. Went to convention a few times, knew in my gut that I wanted to do this someday. I wanted to do it with all my heart, because what would happen is, because of all these kids, because of my children, I would get real excited about sharing with people. And it just would, you guys know what I'm talking about. It would just like flow out, you just love being able to serve that when you love what USANA is, what we have. But then I would have to pull back, because with 7 little children homeschooling, it was big. And it was a lot to try to manage. So I would pull back, and then I just kind of kept doing it as much as I could when I could, very, very part-time, but enough so that my products were paid for. So for 18 years, basically all of our products were paid for, mostly. So fast forward, great health, growing children, a great marriage, but definitely had ups and downs. So we don't have time to talk about all the good, bad, and ugly, but very much in love with my husband, but definitely had some times in there that were really difficult with children and marriage and all that comes with that. But fast forward then 18 years. So that would be 3 years ago now. We came to another milestone with USANA. And although, I mentioned that we had always wanted to do more and do more and do more, but we couldn't. We waited for the time. I really believe that eventually the time would come when my life would be a little bit freed up, and I would feel like I had the green light to go, and it wouldn't feel icky. It would feel ready. And, like when I'm ready to make that decision. And so it came to us in the way of going to a financial advisor. My dad actually had died unexpectedly. Well, we had like 6 months with him, and he was my biggest USANA fan ever. And he had a very rare brain tumor, and we had 6 months with him, and he died. And he left us some money. So not tons of money, but more money than we have ever had at one time. And we really wanted to be responsible with that. So we took it to a financial advisor. And honestly, you guys, with one income, with 7 children, we did not have a savings. There was no savings. There was, we have a very beautiful life, but we don't have an extravagant life. We have a very beautiful life. We don't need for anything, but not extravagant. So we took this amount of money, and my husband, this is funny too, Todd had always said he wanted to retire when he was 50. And I got to tell you, throughout the years when he would say that, he always would say it would be because of USANA, and he's going to retire when he's 50. This was way before I decided to do anything to the extent I'm doing it now. But so when we got into that financial advisor, that's what he shared. I'd really like to retire when I'm 50. And he was like 47 he was like 48 at the time. So she basically fed back to us, there's no way that's going to happen. In order for you to maintain the quality of life that you have, the way of living that you have now, you are going to have to stay at what you're doing, Todd, for another 20 years and earn an additional $3,000 a month in income. Well, I mentioned before, that Todd works he works harder than anyone I've ever known in my life. And it's incredibly physical, but been the provider for a long time. And he is considered to be an expert in his field, and certainly in our area. And so that was a drag to hear that. And then she said, and Angie, you're going to have to go back to work for 20 years as a nurse. So we were like, oh, so we left this meeting. And I'm so grateful to say that USANA had our trust so deeply. And we'd had this incredible opportunity to watch the integrity of this company and experience the products in a way that we were so honored to be able to be a part of this, that when we walked out of that financial advisors meeting, we were not bummed out. We were not at all. We absolutely, this is a real story. We totally high-fived, and I said, this is their time. This is their time. And super cool. So that was the pivotal moment, our second pivotal moment. First moment, making the decision to partner with USANA. And then the second pivotal moment, drawing that line in the sand where I'm not going back to work as a nurse. We've had this way of living. It's not going back now. And my husband is not going to continue to do what he does in this physical job for the next 20 years. That's not happening. And it was absolute resolve for me. And then interestingly, and I love being able to look back at life. Like I hope, I know you guys have, being able to look back and see where God or the universe, however you choose to look at that, I believe it's absolutely God, had lined things up for us. And it was beautiful, perfect timing. And my son then, who is now 22, had been following USANA, and he came to us, and he became an associate when he was 18. And he came to us and he said, you guys, you should go to this One Body event. There's this team, and I knew about Jordan and their team. And he said, you guys should go to this in Chicago. And this was the same week that we made that decision after leaving the financial advisor. And he said, you guys should go to it. It's next week. We ended up going to that One Body event and hearing some of the amazing leaders that we all know. Kate Northrup was there. Jordan, of course, spoke. I met Lindsay for the first time, Lindsay Hardy. Andrea Kies was there, met her for the first time. Well, Lindsay for sure had just become a gold director. So really great One Body event. And it really just confirmed for me that I could do this because they shared their story. They shared their story, where they came from, and that they were moms, and that they were driven to have a different way of life than what everyone else told them they had to have. So it was really cool that those two things came together at that same time. So from the day that we made that decision and the next week came back from One Body, I began teaching twice a week. I just started, I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea. I had no idea what I was doing with social media. I was barely on Facebook. I just started putting myself on social media and announcing myself as this holistic wellness coach. And I just used, I met Eric Martindale, and at that One Body event actually is where I met Eric. And so I just started to ask questions, and I invited Eric to come speak at an event that I was putting on, and he didn't know me, but he was just starting out, and he was awesome and came. And so I had kind of pulled pieces together from other people's presentations that they shared with me, started reading Eric Worre, and, definitely dove into all of that training. And that's what happened. And then a year later, I went gold director, executive gold director, 1 year to the week of making that final decision and drawing the line in the sand. Because it really did feel like that. There wasn't any going back. I knew that. So it was a beautiful year. I had no idea. I didn't know about Growth Tracker. I didn't have anyone. I had no team, to teach me anything. So I didn't have anybody. So I didn't know what Growth Tracker was. Hilarious. And one day, Lori Truman called me, and you guys know Lori. I call her my fairy godmother. She is Lori. I should know this, but is Lori the president of Field? Or I can't remember, Jared. Is she the president?
She's the vice president
Vice
of the
president.
United States
Thank you.
Field.
Yes, I knew US. Thank you. Don't tell her I didn't know that. Well, to me, she's the total president. She's my fairy godmother. But she called me, and I won't ever forget that either. She called me in person and said, is this Angela Gray? And so from there, I kind of discovered that, I was rank advancing. Like, I really honestly didn't know. I would see my checks every week, and that was about it. I'm a bit smarter now and have more intention about some different things, but that's kind of it, you guys. And then just I love that you said, not everyone that's hearing the recording heard you talk, Jared, and your amazing leadership skills. But one of the things I heard you say, which I preach until I'm blue in the face, or teach and coach and preach probably, is the persistence. And that is, I feel like that's what totally got me to be gold. Was I didn't let fear get in my way of not knowing things that just couldn't be in my way. And I was persistent. I was persistent. I mean, sorry, consistent. First it was persistent, and it was consistency. And that still is, for me, key. So yeah, I probably left lots of things out, but that's kind of it. And now our team is growing, and Iowa is the fastest growing state in the country, which is super awesome. And I've just had an amazing time meeting amazing people and growing personally. And yeah, that's kind of it.
Wow. Well, Angela, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yeah.
We've been chatting here. I don't know if you can see all these chats, but
I
everybody is,
can't. Let me open it up. I'll open it back up. Okay.
yeah.
There. Okay.
Everyone is just totally loving your story, talking about persistence, um, executive gold in 2 years or 1 year. Was
One
it
year. Yeah.
1 year
Yeah.
executive
Yeah.
gold? From being able to pay for your health insurance the first couple years or several years, having your products paid for, uh, contributing to your family in a significant way. I mean, you were still
Yeah.
raising 7 kids, but you were able to pay for those things. And thank you for your transparency and saying, hey, it was hard, and we had a single income that was paying everything, but we didn't have savings, and that you guys really looked at USANA as like your savings plan. And
Mm-hmm.
and now you're in such a great position.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just so cool that to hear that, because everybody struggles with certain things in different times. It's not. It's great. It's great when you're transparent like that too, so people know that it's not just a perfect joyride. That.
No, no. And yeah, and any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Definitely, I think that's important. And all good leaders like yourself are see through, if you will, because it's what the best I can offer is my experience. And I think I don't ever want anyone to look at me and think, oh, she has all this, she has that, all that. It's important to me for people to know that there are struggles, that
Mhm.
7 kids is awesome. 7 kids is not easy either, but it's doable. And I love being able to say that. Honestly, I feel incredibly blessed to be able to say, if I can do it with doing, not working for 18 years and being a stay at home homeschooling mom with 7 kids, and just do it, anyone can. And I love being able to say that, because there are a lot of people that are incredible individuals that just need to be told that. I love that part of what we get to do is to share our story, and in the hopes that that inspires someone to believe in themselves enough to take that step forward.
Totally. I love everything you just said. It is doable. It is.
Yeah.
It's, with faith, anything's possible.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. So we have some questions. I'm going to start with Top Silver Director Renee Martinez. Renee, I believe you can unmute yourself. Dad, or could you unmute?
Angela, can you hear me?
I can.
How are you doing today? Thank you so much for being on our webinar.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Okay, my first question is, whenever you decided to go, I guess when you drew the line in the sand and
Yeah.
made your decision that you were gonna make it happen,
Hmm.
what were your kids' ages?
Well, I just turned 50, and I started when I was 47. That was the day that January when I was 47. And I was actually going to be 48 in 6 months. So it's not quite been 3 years yet. My kids I still had four. Well, I have 3 kids home now. I had 4.5 kids at home at the time. One that kept coming back and would leave and kept coming back and leave and coming back. So we have 3 at home now. And at the time we had 5, really.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And another question that I wanted to ask you was, you said that you really didn't have a team and you didn't have anybody to follow or anything like that. What
Yes.
was your main income producing activity that you like to do best?
Hey, I'm sorry. Can you please tell me your name? I didn't catch it.
My name is Renee Martinez.
Renee. Okay. Thank you for that. I thank you for bringing that, because I did forget, which is a really important part of my story, is because I didn't have an upline, USANA became my upline. So they're so awesome. And they actually said that. They said, we know you don't have an upline. We are your upline. And so they've been incredible for that. But I also knew that for me, I needed to have a mentor. And so I just sort of looked around with those that I had seen as leaders within USANA, and Carmen Marshall. I'm not on her team, but I sought her out, and I did all of her, 90-day WAP classes. I paid for coaching from her. I was really, really sold out. And so I had a lot of guidance from her and just following her lead and how she taught and what she believed was really aligned with me. So Carmen was a big part. Well, she played the step up line for me. But my income producing stuff, that's a tough question to ask because I think I don't know if there's one. Like I think getting yourself out there and being consistent doing that. In fact, I just did a training with one of my leaders tonight, and I just told her that the download I kept getting for her comes directly from my own experience. Is all I knew to do was to do it, and to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. Meaning a couple different things. It began with, because I didn't know anything about social media. Like I really got on social media maybe the year before, but had no idea. So it was really just diving in and just deciding to do it. But it was teaching for me. I did we have a building beside our house that's another whole cool story, and how things are just always working out for us. I ended up being able to start doing these teachings in this building, but I would have done it in my house. But it's not anything fancy, but that would be it, Randy, was just, or Renee, I'm sorry, was to teach every week, to get that presentation up and just do it every single week. And then social media was, in the beginning, it was probably several times a week, just to let people know what I was doing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And my last question that I have is, how many working associates do you have on your active associates do you have on your team?
Oh, that's embarrassing. I should probably know that. I don't. I do not know how many. I probably have active, meaning we'll see. Okay, so I need to back up with this. So
I guess work people that are working the business that.
Oh, okay. That's better. That's easier. So I had I'm going to answer two things because maybe this will be something we can talk about from here. When I have a lot of associates, that is now I'm shifting. And Jared, I know you can speak to this from your leadership and what I've learned from you and others. I've signed up a lot of associates because it makes sense to me to be an associate. So everybody was signing up as associates. It made sense to me that if you think you're going to want to share this to pay for your product, then if that makes sense to you, then it's a no-brainer to me that you come in as an associate. No more obligation than as a PC. If you want to earn income, this is the way to go. So it made sense to me. So I have a lot of associates. That's why that was going to be a really tough question. As far as my team, well, that's when things started to shift, is when I started to have a different dialogue, when I started to really get very intentional on who I was partnering with. So right now, honestly, my team the wave is high. I am partnering with incredible women, mostly women, but some really cool guys too. So I have working associates, I'm going to say, and I'm super excited about this number, is like 8. And there's even a couple more that are coming that I'm really, really excited about. But it's also come from, when I say that, I don't know what you're meaning, Renee, like these guys are just learning, but the quality of the associate, does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense, because that's actually what I was talking to my coach about earlier today, was finding quality, because you're a lot better off finding 1 or 2
Yes.
versus signing up 15 that end up quitting the next month.
Yes. And I don't feel like I made any promises at all, but the dialogue really shifted for me. And it wasn't even that long ago. It was sort of a process of the dialogue shifting. And it's so cool to talk about that. But really now I take absolute complete ownership of when I'm talking to my prospect, and I tell them what my intention is. And I got to talk with my niece, for instance, on Friday. So she's been watching me for 2 years. She just turned 21 over the weekend. She's not a Sun associate, but she's been taking the products because her mom's an associate. And she came over, she said, I want to talk to you more about the business, because she's been referring people to me. So she came over on Friday, and what I got to say to her that I now say to everyone is, so this is how the business works. I answered a couple of questions. I drew on my little piece of paper, what business centers look like. And I said, so, and this is the amount of money that you're going to want to invest. You definitely want to come in with one business center for sure and work towards the 3 if you want to be a business builder. Because honestly, sidebar, I don't attract anybody that doesn't want to do 3 business centers. And if they said I don't want to do 3 business centers, I'd probably ask them to consider, this is me, but this is where I'm at. I'd probably ask them to consider staying at PC until they were really ready to go for it. That would be what I would suggest. But so to my niece Briley, I said, so, cause she was starting to like, the money, when we were talking about the money, and I said, so Briley, this is what I want for you. I want to partner with you when and only when you absolutely know this is what I want to do. Because there's 2 things you could be feeling. You could be feeling fear that, oh, this is a lot of money and I don't know if I have that money, and oh my gosh, that's one kind of fear. The other kind of fear could be coming from, this just isn't lining up. After we've talked, this really just isn't for you. So the one fear I don't want anything to do with. The other fear, I want you to just take a few minutes. The one that's saying, oh, this is a lot of money, because the one is the one you want to lean into. That's the one that we do want to talk about. But when you decide that and understand that fear is really just stretching, that you do know you want to go down this road with me, you do want to do what I'm doing, and you want to partner with me to do that, and that's just stretching, that's where that feeling is coming from. When you decide that that's what that is and you're ready to lean in, then call me. I want you to take the weekend and chill and think about it. And she did. She called me today, and we're meeting on Wednesday, and she's coming in with 3 business centers all at once. So I do think that it absolutely has come, this quality of partnering with these associates is because, we hear it all the time, right, Renee, that it's directly related to our business growth, it's directly related to our own personal development. And that's absolutely my experience.
Man, that was absolutely perfect the way you said that. I mean, you're not just looking for everybody, you're looking for somebody whenever they're ready. And I love the way you worded all that.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for answering my questions.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. I'll look for you at convention.
I'll be there.
Awesome. All right. So any last questions? We have time for about 2 more questions, and then we're going to call it a webinar. Go ahead and chat here in the group chat if you have some questions, if you want to ask Angela. Or you can unmute yourself. Actually, I think you have the power, right? Dad, they have the power to unmute themselves.
Yes, they do.
As people are thinking, if they have any more questions, I just want to tell you again, Jared, it was an honor to listen in on even just that short little training that you did, or going over what you did. You are such a good leader. You are. And as far as that goes, when we did meet on the cruise, it was such an honor for us too. And I was so hoping for the opportunity to kind of learn from you. And so even if this was just this little 15-minute thing, I really want to start following you more than I've made the opportunity to do, because I just learned so much in that little thing. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. It's our pleasure. And absolutely, we're happy to share recordings with you, and anything that will help with your systems. We want to support that. We want to see you definitely continue to grow and take it to that next level. So
thank you. And that's what I want to tell your team too, that for where Jared's at right now, what I learned, and was just like 15 minutes, but was it? Maybe not even that. But what I learned and what I was reflecting on during that time is, you are where I'm headed. I'm in that space of the whole mindset changing of, when you're first starting out, it feels like, at least for me, it feels like you're doing it all yourself, because you're trying to find those people, and then you move into, when you're persistent and you're consistent and you get to where we're at now, it's so awesome, because now you're sort of in this creative mode, and you get to work with people that are bringing stuff to the table, and you're like, oh my gosh, best feeling ever. And you, the way that you are edifying your team and putting stuff together, it's so awesome. You guys have an amazing leader. And just even talking to Renee, what a great team you have.
Well, thank you, Angela. So nice, such nice words. We really, really appreciate it.
I mean that, really.
Awesome. So I have a question, and
Sure.
then if no one else has a question after this one, then we'll just we'll go ahead and finish the recording. But my question is, what is the biggest challenge, like, or thing? What happened that was just like the hardest thing that you said, "Oh, I might quit because this is so hard," or something? And how did you overcome it?
That is a really, really good one. All right. So honestly, never felt that way until recently.
Oh,
I
so you were a gold director. You already had
Oh
made it.
yeah, I
You
was
already had made it,
already
quote unquote.
fully, like I'm saying, this was like 8 months ago. I promise you. I had just that personality, I think. I don't know. But here's the deal too. I had 20 or 18 years of experience with USANA. What an honor. Like I knew what I had. So there was no like my belief in the products and even in the business was like sky high. It was like bare. So I didn't have that. That is a unique opportunity that I had. But what my challenge was when I kept trying, this is what I'm saying, this perfect lead question we led into this. Because I was doing by myself. And then things started to shift. And it's stuff that they tell you, when you're first starting out, really started happening. So I got tired and I started to think, oh my gosh, I mean, just like for a second for me, it was like, I'm just tired. I'm tired. I feel like I'm doing everything myself. And I don't know. But that came from where that source of that feeling was trying to do everything actually, and I needed to give my own self permission to care about myself, which I teach and I coach, but I wasn't applying it to myself during that period of time. And I was doing so much that I just needed to start trusting. And that's really when I allowed things to flow and paid attention to the contrast that I was feeling, which isn't in alignment with who I am and the truth of where my journey is headed. When it started to feel all yucky and, like just stressful. And I think that I find so many leaders go through this and people on my team. And so it's cool for me to be able to offer that to myself always. I'm always coaching my own self, but to others is just pay attention to that. I feel like it's the greatest gift we have is our feelings. And so when that's feeling yucky like that, to really sit back, breathe, and do less, honestly. Get your business hours, go back to the things that we know are the things that we should be doing, the ABCs, and get back to that and then trust that, because otherwise it gets too big and it doesn't feel good. So that's really the only time that I have felt like that. And I don't mean to sound like I don't feel tired and I don't feel stressed ever, or I don't, because I certainly do. But to feel like I'm going to quit, nope, that is never, that is not happening. But that also goes back to what I know you've taught your team and you coach your team, all of you guys, and Renee, is your why. So definitely I can say I have definitely thought those thoughts of, okay, I need to remind myself, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that, Angela. That's very transparent, and we really appreciate it. Overcoming those feelings and those doubtful thoughts is something that everybody deals with, and thank you for sharing that you've gone through that as well.
This is my pleasure. Thank you so much, Jared and Jared's parents.
Yes, we have one final question from Executive Gold Director Randy Krebs.
Yes. Well, what is your social media strategy? What are you doing?
Something every day. So really basically what I tell my team when they're first beginning as associates is I say, take a day off, but 6 days a week you are posting something. And the balance of that, my personal preference for balance and how I brand myself. So I think branding is everything. So you have to line this up with how you're branding yourself. But those people that are lining themselves up with me basically have the same sort of feel, right? So I say 3 to 4 personal things, like you're sharing your life, what's important to you, your values, yada yada, and then 2 to 3 USANA things. And that's my social media strategy. It's nothing complicated. It's just 6 days a week, and the balance needs to weigh a little heavier on your personal side, like your values and what's important to you and your lifestyle, that stuff. I also I don't sell things. on Instagram I do. That's different. I have a business Instagram account, but on Facebook, I don't say, hey, buy this stuff for me, or this or that or the other. I have just that doesn't fit for me to do that. Not to say that I've never done it, but yeah, it's basically just figuring out what feels good to you, and that's how I guide my team. It needs to be something every day. And then, I'm sorry, Randy, let me tell you this too. I absolutely say you have to own what you do. So even in the personal lifestyle value type posts, I always say, please hashtag, even on Facebook. Some people think that's wrong. I don't know. But hashtag USANA family, USANA lifestyle. You don't have to sell anything, but you need to own what you do.
So the social media platform is mostly Facebook, or?
For me, I do everything, but that's a little bit overwhelming. I mean, I'm on Twitter and I'm on LinkedIn, and those are like automatically synced when I do certain things. But the main two that I pay attention to the most, and that's shifting as I'm growing, as I'm building those other platforms, but the main two are Facebook and Instagram. And I do mostly it's business building from Instagram.
Do you have a Facebook business page as well?
I do. I have actually 4 pages. I have our team, which Jared, yours is what I liked how you guys called yours, but I have had a team page for a long time, and that includes associates and PCs. That's my team page. I have my Smart Sexy Fit page, which I'm a sexy fit coach. I have that. And then I have our business builder page, which we call our WAP page, weekly action plan page. And those are my active business builders.
Okay.
And the 4th page is coming when I'm going to combine the USANA. So I had the Sexy Fit program that I partnered with Carmen Marshall over a year ago. And then now USANA's come out, with Be Healthy, and the Be Beautiful stuff. So I am now creating a page this week that's the Be Healthy, Be Beautiful page. So I have 3 currently, but.
Do you have just a personal page for your lifestyle only?
Oh, you know what, you guys, I lied. That's not right. Yeah, I mean, I already have 4, and there's going to be 5. I'm not sure how that's going to look with the Be Healthy, Be Beautiful. But the 4th one is my business, strictly my business. That is Angie Gray Wellness. And that is, that used to be Social Pro, what they were doing for us, So I was one of those first people to do that. And then when they quit doing that, all I do right now is then just go to Ask the Scientist, the Science and Education Facebook stuff. And every day I take something off of there and I put it on that page. But yes, I have a just business page.
Okay.
And that's for that.
Do you have a personal page? Just a plain.
Before I knew what I was doing, I just used it for everything. So, because I didn't know. And so my personal page, I absolutely throw USANA stuff on there too, but it's very random. But that maybe, that's probably why I went with, it ended up working out really well for me, but I had to pay attention to my branding because I didn't want to just be, I did not want to be known as a supplement girl. I didn't want that. I wanted everyone to know that everything about health matters to me. USANA is my product partner and I'm proud of it and I own that. But I didn't, so it was both for me. Does that make sense? So my personal page was both. And then later it sort of morphed into, okay, now I really do have this business page that's strictly this.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, did you have something else, Mom?
No, I said that was very helpful. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again, Angela. It's been an honor and a pleasure to learn from you. Thank you for sewing into our team and even giving us extra time. We really appreciate it. And I look forward to being in touch with you and having us all grow together.
Yay. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. It was my honor and pleasure as well. I'll talk to you guys real soon. Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome.